After confiscating $1.7 million worth of filming equipment, planes, and a helicopter, the Rhodesian government put Arthur Jones and his wife on a one-way flight back to America. In one day, Arthur Jones had gone from a multi-millionaire to $500,000 in debt. This type of setback would be difficult for anyone to overcome, but Arthur began scheming the moment he landed in America. He explained to Lisa, his wife, "I can go to General Motors or Ford because they are the only ones that can afford me. They'll say, 'What do you want to do?' And I'll say, 'Anything you want, better than anyone you've ever had.' They'll say, 'How much do you want?' I'll say, 'Well, $500,000 to start. That will about pay my debts. But after 6 months, I will need a raise, and that will be the end of the conversation." I can't imagine what Lisa's face looked like after Arthur, with a serious tone, explained he would simply ask for a $500,000 job. But this wasn't out of the ordinary for Arthur. Born into an Arkansas family, Arthur's great-grandfather, grandfather, father, mother, half-brother, and sister were all medical professionals of some sort. The family believed Arthur would follow in the same footsteps, but he didn't. In fact, he never finished high school. He dropped out after the first year of high school, claiming, "I should have dropped out in the 6th grade." After dropping out, Arthur lied about his age and joined the Navy. In the Navy, he learned one skill that would put him on a path to success. He learned how to fly a plane. After serving, he bought a plane and started transporting packages all across America. The business was successful. He quickly built a network of planes transporting goods all across America. The business even expanded into Africa and Australia, where he began exporting exotic animals. Arthur always knew how to draw a crowd. He told captivating stories of his international trips. While abroad, he claimed to have killed 600 elephants, was bitten by 24 poisonous snakes, survived several lion attacks, crashed a jeep into a tree, going 60 miles per hour, and had survived 6 gunshots. From what I can tell, most people didn't believe his stories, even though they found it entertaining. But his stories landed him a spot in the TV series Wild Cargo. Wild Cargo was a TV show that followed Arthur and his crew as they hunted down exotic animals. The success of the show inspired Arthur to create Savage, the movie. Savage was a movie following a crew appointed by the Rhodesian government to relocate dangerous reptiles, alligators, and hippos, as well as stop native poachers in the area. The movie was horrible. Half of the audience left after a crocodile was killed. The other half left during the next gruesome killing scene. I believe this movie is why the Rhodesian government deported Arthur before his next project was done. The America Arthur returned to in 1970 was experiencing an increased interest in fitness. Gyms were being created and revamped for the masses. This meant there was a rising market for gym equipment. Luckily, Arthur had some experience creating gym equipment. In 1940, he had been paid $10 by a local gym owner to create an exercise machine. The machine wasn't perfect, but the idea lingered in his mind. He had thought of ways to improve the machine, but this was the perfect time to try them. With the $2,500 he borrowed from his sister and help from his wife and son, Arthur created the Blue Monster. The Blue Monster was like any other training machine, but there was one thing it did differently. Arthur created a Nautilus-shaped cam unit that varied the resistance at certain point of the exercise. Since you can lift more weight at the eccentric portion of any exercise, the Blue Monster would lessen the weight as the user went from the eccentric to the concentric portion of the motion. In theory, it made sense, but with a starting price of $2,500, it was an untested, expensive exercise machine. Although Arthur knew how to draw a crowd, he knew no one was going to trust his words. To them, he's simply a salesman wanting to sell his pricey equipment. However, people respect the opinion of experts, especially when their opinion is based on research. Arthur thought, what if I conducted an experiment to prove my exercise brand was the superior brand? If a group of average people in an official research setting could make impressive gains using my exercise machine, that would be the ultimate sales pitch. To make the pitch even better, Arthur planned to achieve incredible results with only 30 minutes of training. While showcasing the Blue Monster at bodybuilding shows, Arthur met Viator Casey, an upcoming bodybuilder. Arthur claimed Viator secured his 1971 win by training with his equipment, but I can imagine no one took him seriously as Casey was already considered a prodigy. Not long after, Casey lost most of his physique due to an accident. Casey went from 200 pounds to 167 pounds while in the hospital. Initially, Arthur was the only subject for the experiment, but Casey was later added on. To legitimize the experiment, Arthur got the director of the exercise physiology lab in the Colorado State University to supervise it. For 28 days, Arthur and Casey going to undergo a 30-minute workout. The workout include one hard set of 6 to 8 reps using every machine from Arthur's exercise brand. Make sure that the experiment produced remarkable results. He and Casey went on a cup beforehand. Casey was reportedly eating 600 calories several weeks before the experiment. Arthur also offered Casey a monetary incentive. For every pound of muscle he gained, he would receive a certain amount of money. He thought this would motivate Casey to train harder, which he did. However, Casey also took steroids in order to gain more muscle. The supervisor was unaware of any of this during the experiment. By the end of the experiment, Arthur had gained 15 pounds of muscle in the process. This is impressive, but it was far from the 30 pounds of muscle he thought he was going to gain. But this wasn't a problem, as Casey had surpassed his expectations. Casey gained 45 pounds, but he was much leaner than his starting point. He had lost 18 pounds of fat, meaning Casey had gained 63 pounds of muscle. This was what Arthur was looking for. News of the result sent educators and competitors into a frenzy. Educators wanted to know the secret, and competitors wanted to disprove the experiment. But this didn't stop Arthur's brand from dominating the market. Between 1974 and 1982, Nautilus was rumored to have made more money than all its competitors combined. By 1984, there were 4,700 Nautilus fitness centers all across America. Everyone wanted to train on a Nautilus machine thanks to the Colorado experiment. So how did this fraudulent experiment win the Olympia? Even though the Colorado experiment was the greatest sales pitch Arthur could have ever had, he didn't stop there. Arthur carried out more experiments to prove that his brand was superior. The training regimen associated to the experiment had become widespread among bodybuilders. Arthur tried multiple times to train a bodybuilder to the Olympia victory. Arthur trained Sergio Olivia for the 1972 Olympia in hopes that he would win. Unfortunately, Olivia came second place to Arnold. Arthur tried again with Mike Mensa, who wholeheartedly believed the results of the Colorado experiment. Mensa slowly climbed the ranks and was a shoo-in for the 1980 Olympia, but due to favoritism, Mensa lost to an unprepared Arnold. However, in 1992, a fan of Arthur's training won the Olympia. His name is Dorian Yates. Dorian would dominate the Olympia for several years after his win, although people believe that Dorian's success is due to his experimentation with human growth hormone. This is how a fake experiment won the Olympia.